Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Modern Work Mondays for Retail. I am your host, Nolan Wheeler, and with me as always I have
Jeff Strasser at Microsoft.
Buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm excellent. It was Father's Day a number of weeks ago. How was your Father's Day?
It was great. Thank you. Yeah, it was good.
Good.
Everybody, everybody let me do what I wanted to do and go where I wanted to go, and yeah, it was good.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I was last minute thinking of ideas to buy something for my dad, and I decided to go to a DIY store and buy a doorbell. Um, just deliveries and being away and whatnot. I thought, okay, that could be cool, and I just wanted to get something really basic like a ring or something that would be like the most simple, like battery operated. There's no install, so I was met with really nice fixtures. And then below were these tear pads, and the tear pads had like 50 pieces of paper on them. And I thought to myself, uh-oh. And I grabbed one off the shelf, and I'm with my two little girls, 11 and 7. So not a whole lot of patience there. And DIY stores are shockingly not little girls' favorite places to go shop. And I went up to the front and I passed it over to the SCO attendant. I said, hey, can I get one of those? And I'm not going to bore everybody with the details, but it was 25 minutes and 4 associates trying to help find this stuff because it was supposed to be in this one location, then it was supposed to be this different location, this another location. And they probably made 40 calls over their radios trying to find this person in electrical and trying to find that person, that person. And at one point, because I'm obviously getting fatigued. My kids are beyond fatigued. I'm 25 minutes late, and I just went and bought something else. And I said, look, don't worry about it. I'm so sorry you guys spent all that time looking for it, but I just can't stand here any longer. It's like, I think I was pretty patient and so apologetic and so like felt terrible. It's like, no. You guys went way above and beyond. You put 4 staff members into finding me this Ring doorbell, but you couldn't find it. So to this day, I don't know what the breakdown was. The problem that I have with those tear pads is that they're not reconciled to inventory. So although I had a piece of paper, their on hands could have been wrong, or there could have been an issue with the scan or whatever. But yeah, that was my Father's Day, and I was reinvigorated to go like, we gotta do a better job at helping out our frontline workers, because that was not a cool use of time. And it's just not a good experience for the SCO attendant, who was lovely, and I just felt so terrible for her.
Yeah, it's been a while, I feel like, since I've seen a tear pad like that. Um, but yeah, who knows? Who knows how many, where they are, what the product is. As much as you and I both like to complain about locking showcases, at least there's the potential of seeing what's behind the glass.
Yeah.
There are a lot of challenges in how you get to it, or how it gets to you, and still the same challenges exist in getting the help. But at least you can physically say, like, maybe in the worst case scenario, there's a little hammer that says, like, in case of emergency, break glass. But yeah, that's those are the experiences that there's so many ways to avoid, and until there's a recognition, not in the one-off, no one can't get his doorbell camera case, but in the many times that story is repeated across many products, across many stores, across many days, the loss is significant. And it's not just what you lose in that one sale, right? It's what you lose in other items that you were going to purchase, or what you purchase when you go down the street and pick up that item, plus 2, 3, 4 things that come along in your basket.
Yeah. So here's what I want to do with this conversation, because I don't want it just to be me ragging on this tear pad. I wanted to kind of reverse engineer this with you and have a technology conversation, because here's the thing that I find most interesting about this challenge that I had. The challenge that I had is that retailer, who's very sophisticated, they will have no idea. I was going to buy 2 because my kid said, why can't we have one? So they lost out on a $500 transaction, 2 units of these doorbells. I'm probably not going to buy one for myself. It was an impulsive thing because my kids wanted to get one. I went and got my dad some pruning shears instead. So I'm probably never going to buy that again. So the thing that I find interesting is that the tear pad, frankly, that's got to go. And it's interesting. I'm seeing more of that stuff. Costco has really gone that direction, not with a tear pad, but they'll build an entire pallet, and then they've got these cardboard things that stick in there that's the proxy for the product, and they've got it up at the front. I'm seeing more of this in grocery for all of the kind of health and beauty categories. I'm seeing a ton of that, especially in the Western United States. So I see more and more of this, and it's a matter of like, okay, what was the data that we had? The data was we had a piece of paper, garbage, and then we had 40 conversations over a radio. Neither of those things will this retailer actually know happened, and they plus Ring will never know that they're dropping the ball unless an employee decides that they're going to like write a suggestion card or something.
Yeah. That that is the problem, right? So we know one of the things we talk about all the time, right? The ultimate kind of most valuable asset within the enterprise, probably after people, is data. And if you don't have the data, you can never improve how the business operates. And so these are great examples of what are the points in this process that data could have been used to both improve the experience, but also kind of validate or report on the issue that was being seen, right? If you and I've talked about in past episodes the ability to, especially with generative AI, and I know we don't like to have that conversation talk about kind of the details of potential solutions in every conversation we have, but to be able to understand the conversation. If you were a fly on the wall sitting at home office and heard this conversation that was happening across 4 employees across the radio, and that was reconciled through all this generative AI, which can now understand language and could have said, here's the situation that happened in this customer example, right? And brought that or alerted that to a store operations team or leadership, they would know that this is a problem and start to probably look across stores. Okay, how often is this happening? Is it something we need to change process, invest in solutions? Like, what's the actual loss? And what's the cost of implementing a solution that will prevent that? And and there's probably some simple math that goes along with that, but nobody knows.
Yeah. So I mean, the next time I get to chat with that retailer, because we got a good relationship there. I mean, the story is one thing to say, hey, you lost a sale. The real thing that's exciting here is like if you look at how incredible Canadian Tire with their scan and buy platform has digitized the in-store lock and case environment. You've got Walmart that's doing scan and collect, I believe they call it, but the same methodology. Had that tear pad been a QR code that I scan, I would have all this data available to me in real time as a retailer. And if you also think about it, that poor associate up at the SCO desk, they only got to start looking for that Ring thing, 2 of them, when I passed over the piece of paper. But if I had done it digitally, they would have been looking for it for 5 minutes. So I would give them a 5-minute head start. So 1, digitizing those pads is critical. And then 2, using AI radio to take all those conversations, that natural language, take that radio conversation, run it through a Copilot, because we need that associate at SCO. We need that person to write an email or do the suggestion box or go talk to their supervisor. I'm going to bet that they didn't go and have a debrief on this whole thing. I think this happens all the time, and lots of other more hilarious and entertaining things likely happen. So how do you take that associate that had all that conversation on voice? How do you take that digital chit and how do you turn that into a data point? Because boy, on another call this morning, if a district manager was standing there watching this happen, the DM would have gone, holy Hannah, we have a problem in store. Obviously, we don't know where the stuff is, or on hands or off. And head office, these tear pads are killing us. We got to change something. You can't be in a store all the time, all day. And that's where you got to start using tools whereby get the information digitally in the store from the customer's mobile, listen to the radios, look at all those other pieces. That's where we're going to actually make stores really strong.
And add on to that, right? The costs of the tear pads and the replenishment and the limitations that they may have on merchandising or moving product around the store. There's kind of peripheral costs associated with those, with non-digital solutions like physical goods costs, which is also a challenge. And then if you are using QR codes, and if that's opening up whether it's a browser experience or another experience within an app, what other data is available to you as a retailer on that customer, because you're now able to interface with the other information that those platforms are exposing to you. Like we all know, we've all been in the Instagram or the other social app, right? And you're getting ads surfaced to you on every conversation you've had and everything you've ever searched on the internet, because through cookies and other technologies, all that information is being shared and kind of brought together across experiences. Like once you're in this digital experience, your information on that consumer is all of a sudden unlocked, right? What information they have on you if you pick a piece of paper off a care pad?
No, I mean, they didn't even know the tear went off. I mean,
Right.
we're going along here, but this is just such a good, important topic. It's like, I don't know this to be true, but I'm going to speculate that probably Ring contributes financially to that fixture. I'm imagining that, everybody's agreed that people are stealing these $250 to $500 cameras that are sitting there and these buttons. So we've all agreed that we're going to get some vendor funding and we're going to do some cages. And then that didn't work so well because the sales went down. So then we went to a paper pad. They're probably paying for that too, or at least co-paying in some way. Like to show them where this could go. I mean, I've got so many customers right now building stores whereby moving digitally on that approach pays for not only for the entire program, but actually creates a net amount of revenue. So it's like even if our sales decline slightly and but our shrink goes to zero, we actually made some money off the vendors and the brands because frankly, that's the only way that anybody's making money on e-commerce orders. We can't go and run around the store and pick everything for free, so they're paying for that through advertising.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, it's another timely segue into next week, which is survivorship bias, kind of looking at why don't we start making some decisions around what we don't know versus making decisions around what we do know. So that's next week.
Talk to you then.
Bye, buddy. Bye.